Hello guys, welcome back to the another video on our Cucumber session. So in the previous videos, we have done launching the browser and we are capturing the title. And in this video, so we will see how to do data driven. Means so we need to pass the data in our feature file. So here, let me create a feature file first. So here I will make it as data driven dot feature. So here in this file, so first we have to define our feature. So here I will name it as data driven. Okay. So here I will define a scenario. So here instead of taking the default browser and instead of passing the data in the step definition, the data which is required for the step definition, I will pass it from the future file. So here, so I will take the application as a Flipkart as of now. So here, so open the Flipkart app and search for iPhone. Okay, so here this is my scenario. So open the Flipkart app and then I have to search for a iPhone phone. Okay, so here the first one, so we have to define our precondition using a given gherkin keyword given. So open browser or else launch browser. So in the previous video, so we have used a launch browser. So instead of giving a default browser, instead of specifying it as Chrome or also Firefox, so I will make it as launch browser. In within double quotes, I will specify it as Chrome. Okay, so this is not, we have not defined in our earlier feature file. The data you are going to define a double quotes that will be parameterized in your methods. So that we will see in a later. So once we get a step definition. So then, and enter the URL. So here also instead of hard coding the URL, so I will pass it from my feature file, https://flipkart.com. Okay, so let me check so whether this URL will work or not. Okay, so this one is working fine. So flipkart.com. So I think when you are navigating to a Flipkart through the automation, so it will give a pop-up for this login. So you have to handle this. So just inspect this, inspect, and which is having the visible text cross mark. And let me identify it by using export // which is having a button. Okay, and then text. Okay, so let me keep it as it is. So here enter the URL flipkart.com and close login pop-up. Okay, so this will handle the closing of the login pop-up. So here I will need to click on this. So then I have to search this iPhone. So in order to search this, so here I have to go to the search for and I have to search for iPhone. Okay, so this will give the result of iPhones. And when, okay, so when is a gherkin keyword? In this I will define, okay, so in search bar, enter iPhone as item name. Okay, so then get, or else I will, what I will do, I will print all the iPhone device names. Okay, so this is my scenario now. So you can see that. So whenever I'm writing my steps, okay, so I'm using a double quote. So instead of hard coding the data in the step definition, the Chrome, the browser name I'm passing from my feature file, so this will give the data to my step definition. So in order to generate a step definition, so again I have to do a right click and run this scenario. Okay, so now you can see that. So it has generated a step definition, and you can see that. So the double quotes I have specified in my feature file, so that has been given it as a data type here. So you can see that within a curly braces, that is given it as a string. So because that double quote, what we are going to give, that is string format. So again, you can see as a method argument, it is having a string. Okay, so means so whenever you run this feature file, whenever you implement that, so it will give the Chrome as a variable name for this method. So I will just copy this, copy, and again in step definition, so I'm going to create a Java class. So here I will name it as automation practice. Okay, so let me import all these classes. Okay, done. So here you can see, so whenever you generate a step definition, by default, it will throw the pending exception because so we have not written any code. So here it is suggesting write the code here that will turn the phrase into a concrete actions means. So these are the actions that will be performed. So when you run this feature file. So again, so let me remove this exception. And here, instead of a string, so I will make it as it is a browser name. Browser name. So here I'm getting a Chrome as a browser name here. So you can see that is coming from my feature file, that is Chrome. And here I will use if else logic. So if that browser name dot equals ignore case if it is equals to a Chrome, so I need to launch a Chrome driver. So here I'm going to use a WebDriver manager in order to launch a browser instead of using exe files like Chrome driver.exe or also geckodriver.exe WebDriver manager. So when I put a dot, I will get a suggestion like Chrome driver, Chromium driver, Edge, Firefox, and then IE driver. So here I'm going to use Chrome driver dot setup. So this will uh, do the launching the Chrome browser, and then I will launch a browser here. Driver equal to new Chrome driver. Okay, so here I'm launching the driver. So again, I need a one more browser. So if it is not equals to Chrome, so if the browser name dot equals ignore case, if it is equals to suppose sometime if I say Firefox, it has to launch a Firefox driver, WebDriver manager dot Firefox driver dot setup and driver equal to new Firefox driver, and I will provide a one more default else block. So here I will just print so invalid browser name browser name. Okay, sorry. So this is I need to concatenate with plus. So here you can see, so this WebDriver become a local variable. So in order to use it in a different method, so I need to declare it as a global variable. So here, so declare WebDriver as a global. So in order to make it as a global, instead of defining inside a method, so I will define outside of this method. So web driver, and I will not initialize it. So by default, if I not initialize, by default the value will be null in Java. So here I will remove this reference WebDriver, and here also I will just remove this driver reference. And now you can see that, so whenever I declare it as a local variable, so that the color will be changed now, so that will be as a global variable now. So here I am launching the browser. So if it is saying a Chrome, it will launch a Chrome driver. If I say Firefox, it will launch a Firefox driver. So then after, so I need to maximize the driver. So driver dot manage. So window dot. So here you can do maximize the screen, and you can make it as a full screen, or else you can do minimize. So here I want to do maximize the screen, and then I want to put a implicit wait. Driver dot manage dot timeouts dot. So here I'm using a implicit wait. So here I'm using durations of seconds. So here I will give it as a 10 seconds. Means, so whenever I identify an element, so this implicit wait will wait for 10 seconds in order to perform an action on that element. So in the first method, so I'm launching the browser, and here I'm doing the maximizing the window, and then I'm setting a implicit wait. And here you can see there is a one more method. If I come to the next method, so that is the next step definition. So here the step we have defined as a AND. Okay, so the gherkin keyword we have used as a AND, but here you can see that is name it as a given, because so in the previous step also we have made it as a given. That is why for the next method also it has annotated with a at the red given, so you can make it as AND also. So that is not a problem. So by default, so it will come up with a given and given, or else when and when. So when you're using a AND as a gherkin keyword. So again, enter the URL. So this is the URL it is going to give it from the feature file. So here I will name it as URL. So here, in order to navigate to that URL, driver.get to this URL. So as I told, so whenever you navigate initially, so it will give a pop-up. So I need to handle that pop-up. For that, so I need to identify that element, driver.find element by dot. Already I have written a XPath. So Control Shift I. And if I click on login, so this pop-up will be appear when you launch initially. So you have to handle this. I have to inspect this element, and I will return a XPath, so which is having a tag name as a button. Okay, double forward slash button. And here I'm inspecting this element not as an attribute. So this cross mark which is exists between the opening and closing tag. So this will be the text element. So text equal to this cross mark. So now we can see, so it has identified and it has been marked as a blue on this element. And let me copy this. And here I'm going to use XPath. So I will provide this XPath. So here I'm just click. Okay. Again, this step is also done. In this step, I have named it as enter the URL and then close the pop-up which is appearing. So again, so in the search bar, okay, so if you see the next step, okay, so in the search bar, enter the string. Okay, this string is a phone name, so that has been coming from a feature file. So this is a item name. Okay, so I will remove this snippet code, and here after closing this, I need to identify the search bar. So let me remove this iPhone and let me inspect this. So again, you can see that it is a input tag and you can see it is having a name. So I will take the name as a attribute. So driver dot find element by dot name. So we have a name as a q dot send keys. So here I need to do a send keys on the item name. Okay, this is the item name. And then, so once after you enter the item name, suppose here I will name it as an iPhone. So then if you press on enter on a keyboard, so it will navigate to the iPhone. Suppose it is already in the iPhone. Let me say mi, enter. So it will go to the display the mi devices. So again, in order to press the enter button, so here you can say keys dot. Again, you can see that keys is also coming from a Selenium package. Keys dot enter. Okay, so this what it will do. So it will identify the search bar and it will enter the item name and it will press the enter on a keyboard. And again, come to the next then part. This is actual validation. So here I wanted to print all the device names. Okay, so in order to print all the device names, suppose if I search iPhone, so it will display the names of these devices. So let me inspect this. So instead of getting the complete name, okay, so you can see that Apple iPhone, again, if you scroll down, so each device will started with the name Apple iPhone. So now what I will do, so I will write a XPath. So it will identify all these devices name. So I will just copy till Apple iPhone double forward slash, which is having a division tag. And here, instead of searching the complete text, I will do a contents of a text, comma, Apple iPhone. So you can see that it is giving around 27 result, means it is displaying around 27 devices in this current page. So I want to print all these device names. So let me copy this. So driver dot. So here I'm not going to use a find element because the find element, you can see the return type is a web element. So now I want to print all the devices names. So I'm going to use find elements because that will return a list of web element, because so it will get all the matching web element and it will return it as a list. Find element. So by dot xpath, sorry, xpath. So So here I will name it as items. And if I create a local variable, so this will return me the list of web element. So now I want to print the text of all these devices. So in order to print all this text, so what I will do, so I will just go to a for loop. So here I will name it as a string. I want to get as a, sorry, not a string. So this will return a web element item. So this is a for each loop. So from the items, I'm getting each of the element, that is item. So from this item, so I want to get the text. So here I will do print. So item. So this item is a web element. So I don't want to print the web element. I want to print the text which is there in that item. So item dot get text. So that will return a string as an argument. So after this, so I need to close the driver instance, driver dot close. So this is my step definition. So you can see that, so here there is no hard-coded data, like so the browser name which is coming from my feature file, again that URL that we are passing, that is also coming from our feature file. And again, the data, like we are searching the item, that is also which is coming from feature file. So let me run this feature file and let us see whether it is passing these data or not. So let me do a right click and run this scenario. And this time it is not going to fail because these steps were already implemented in the step definition. So again, no need to map it. So by default, automatically this Cucumber will recognize so where you are returning a step definition. So this is a pop-up I have told earlier. So this will be displayed when initially. So you have to handle this. So it has closed and it has searched the iPhone, and you can see that it has displayed all these device names. Okay, so you can see that so all these device names is started with Apple iPhone. Okay, so this is what I have mentioned in a XPath. So whenever it contains a element which contains a text which is having a Apple iPhone, so then capture that element and you can see the result as well. So it is identified as a 27, and you can see that all are having a Apple iPhone. Okay, so this is how you can do a data driven. Suppose if you want to pass a data from your feature file, you can specify it as a double quote. And we have one more way is there, so that is using scenario outline, so that we will see in the upcoming videos. Thank you.